Hey everyone, Yasin here, and today I'm doing a review of the Parblo Island A609 tablet. And right now I'm just testing the pressure sensitivity, what it's like making straight lines and curvy lines and stuff. And I figure I'll just do a drawing for you. Not going to do an unboxing. I think there's a lot of those types of videos. So instead I'll just draw and let you know what I thought of it, and why am I doing this for this company, and why do I choose certain tablets? Well, the reality is, I have this thing where when people contact me for product reviews, I will let them know I will do a review of your product. However, I will not guarantee that it's going to be a positive review, and I may, not say kind words about it. And if you're okay with that, sure, I'll review your product. And so far, it seems like the companies that are okay with that are companies like Parblo. I think Huayan was okay with it. Companies like Wacom, though, or Wacom, don't seem to be interested in that type of review. And to be honest, I use Wacom products all the time. I usually use Cintiq 22 HD, and driver problems, man, it's the new thing. And I talked to a bunch of friends and students who are also experiencing driver problems, and it's not what they used to be, because they didn't used to have very many driver problems. But anyway, moving on to this. So, what do I think of it? Well, it's, first of all, I think the selling point on this, it's pretty obviously the price, because right now it's on sale for like $44 American on Amazon.com. And it's got 2048 levels of pressure sensitivity and 5080 LPI resolution, which I don't know what the 5080 LPI is. Maybe something per inch. Anyway, I guess that's good. So I tried to look at Wacom products that were similar. So the size is 9x6, or like close to 9 inches by 6 inches in terms of the active area. And that's pretty much similar to like a Wacom 1 tablet. And on Amazon, the Wacom 1 tablet, which has it has 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity, that goes for $104. So there's that. And then there's also the Intuos Art Pen, which goes for $195. That's the same size. And the Wacom Intuos Pro goes for $350. But the Intuos Pro does have 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So, that seems to be the high-end version for a tablet in this size. So basically, if you got $350 for the high-end Wacom version and $104 for the cheap version, then Parblo still beats them with $44 for a tablet. And it's not bad. I mean, you can see I'm able to make lines and do things with it. I thought the pen was super cheap. It's very, it just looks cheap and it feels cheap. It's like a cheap plastic. It is light, which is nice. And overall, it wouldn't be that bad. I mean, it's still usable. But one thing that did bother me is they have buttons on the pen and they're not beveled. They don't stick out, and they're kind of flush with the pen's contour. So I kept pressing the buttons by accident, which isn't a big deal. It just does right click, but that was annoying. It was a thing I'd rather not have to do. Yeah, and you can see like there's areas where lines just don't go exactly where I want them to go. I'm not sure if this is because of the tablet or if it's because I've been using a Cintiq for so long. Going back to a tablet, and the difference between the two is the Cintiq is like a screen. You draw directly on the screen, and a tablet is just, there's no screen, and you put it on the table or on your lap or whatever, and you just draw on that. But you look at the screen while drawing. So it's kind of weird at first because you have this disconnect where you're looking forward and drawing and you're not looking at your hand at all. But yeah, so that was kind of difficult. Also, I was doing this on a different computer because you need to make sure you don't have Wacom drivers and other drivers like the Parblo drivers at the same time. So because I normally use a Wacom thing, I had to go to a computer that had nothing, and it was, difficult to use. But the product itself, it's pretty fine. It was very easy to install. I plugged it in and into a USB port. It is wired, and the thing started working right away. But I figured I'd download their drivers anyway, and then you download their drivers, restart, and it was fine. I guess there's not much to say about it. It feels usable, and for someone on a budget, it's under $50, which, when it's on sale, it's under 50. I'll try and put a link or ask them to send a link or something that is the sale version in case it goes off sale. Because the regular price is $62, which is still, it's not bad. But yeah, I'm just happy that there's Wacom competitors that are, much more affordable now. Wacom products just seem to get more and more expensive. When I got my first Graphire tablet, it was a 6x4 inch tablet, and it was $80 Canadian. And that was in, 1990 something. Probably 1998, 99, maybe 2000, something like that. Anyway, and that one was fine. It was just small. In terms of size, this one it's fine, it's not as big as what I'm used to, but it's not small either. Like, it feels decent sized. It's got 4 express key things, which are useful. I set it just to Alt, because basically I use Alt space bar, and then Control Shift and some other keys. Probably if there was 5, it would be a bit better than 4, but 4 is okay. Or if they were differentiated by feel. Like, I think that's something that companies need to think about more, is not just how it looks, because there's this tendency to go for very sleek things, which is good in terms of appearance. It looks nice. But when you're actually using things, I think tactile response matters a lot more. Like, how does it feel? Can you not look at it and feel what's what? Because if you can, that's good. And if you can't, usually it just, for me anyway, I just don't use those keys. Usually on tablets, I don't use the express keys. I just use my keyboard because I've memorized where all the keys are on the keyboard. So there's that. Or I use Razor and Nostromo. In terms of the painting, just quick and dirty here. Again, I was using a setup where I'm not used to it. So usually what I do is I go into gradient maps these days. And now I'm just, I made it in black and white at first. Pretty much going between 2 brushes or 3, 2 brushes, a soft brush and like a more painterly brush, and you can get my brushes on Cycra.net for free, by the way, in the resources section. Yeah, so in Photoshop, I did a smudge tool and then 2 brushes, or 3, I guess. I think I used a sketching brush as well, but yeah, very minimal. And I work in black and white, and then once I've got the values all decent, in this case anyway, I just throw on a color layer and a color balance layer to add a base of color that I can work off of. And I usually go for, I mean, in this case, I went with a brown. The reason I like working with browns in traditional or digital, or anyway, whatever, digital or traditional, is because colors seem to work well with browns in terms of blending. They don't look so muddy or garish. When you do get a color that looks muddy, usually what it is it's either the wrong value or the wrong temperature. So temperature as in it's too cold, so too much towards blue, or too desaturated, or it's too warm, too saturated, or too towards reds and oranges and things like that. So basically, if you feel a color is off, like you put a color down and it's off, it looks muddy, it's usually one of those 2 things. Like either the value is wrong, which is easy to check. Just make a new layer in Photoshop anyway, set it to color and fill it with white or black or any kind of gray with no saturation, and then you'll be able to see the values. Traditionally, you can just squint. If you squint your eyes, it's easier to see values. And then if it's temperature, that's a matter of, okay, it looks off, the values look good, but it still looks off. Then you've got to ask yourself, is it too warm or too cool for the values around it? Here I'm just throwing in some, post-production things. I usually create like a sharpened layer and then a blurred layer. And then I put a mask on the sharpened layer and just show it in certain areas so that overall it looks blurry, but in the areas you want to focus on, it's a bit sharper. And then I just reduce the opacity until that looks good. Throw on a noise layer, which just adds a grain to everything so it all feels cohesive. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I would say if you're on a budget, check out something like the Parblo Island A609. If you've never used a tablet before, it's probably a good one to start out with just because it's not that expensive. And also, if you've never used a tablet before, be prepared for it to feel uncomfortable. It is not, it might be really awkward at first when you're drawing and not looking at your hand. But with practice, you can get used to it and everything can be all right. So yeah, hope this helped and thanks for watching.